Hi, I'm Tara and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to show you one of my favorite things to make. It's something that I make quite often, and it is a chicken and veggie stir fry. Doesn't always have to be chicken. Sometimes I make it with shrimp, sometimes chicken and shrimp. The variety can be anything that you want it to be. But it's a great way to use your veggies, to get your veggies in. It's a great thing to make if you live by yourself and you need to make something that's going to feed you for 2-3 days. This is something that is great to make. So the first thing I do when I make this is I get the rice going, because then when the rice is going, you can start getting all the rest of your ingredients together. And a really good tip when you're making any kind of stir fry, you want to get your ingredients ready as much as you can ahead of time so that everything is chopped, ready to go, because once you start putting everything in the pan, it moves very, very quickly, as you will see. So first thing we want to do is get the rice ready. I wanted to show you the rice that I use. So I will probably, in my videos, mention Costco a lot. You just need to know that I'm like a part of the Costco cult. I love it for things that you know you're going to use on a regular basis, that you can still buy it in bulk and it lasts for a while, especially something like rice. You save so much money. Rice is something that I buy there, and one of my favorite rices is basmati rice. So this this is my rice. So it is the best though. I love this so much. Get your pan out, and I always make, for this recipe, you're gonna use a cup of dry rice. So get yourself a nice full cup of dry rice. Put that in your pot, and then you always want to use the 2-to-1 rule when you're making rice. So since I have 1 cup of dry rice, you're going to do 2 cups of water. So I'm going to do 2 cups of water. So you just pour that right in there, and then we'll put it on the heat. So we've got, and actually your second cup, pour out a little bit. So it's kind of like almost like 1 3/4 cups, a bit, just on your second cup, pour out a little bit. All right. Okay, so we will put this on the stove, and we're just gonna put it on high to bring it up to a boil. I'll just stir that up real quick so it doesn't stick together. Now we're gonna make sure we have all of our vegetable ingredients ready. So I've already got I use frozen peas and carrots, so about a cup or so of that. I've got those ready to go. With that, I want to have some onion, some regular white onion. So we'll go ahead and chop that up. I've also got here some broccoli. They're all kind of different sizes. A lot of them are, smaller size like this, which that size is actually fine in a stir fry. I might cut it in half, but you want to think about how big you would want each piece to be in a bite, right? So I just kind of go through one like this. I'm going to cut that into 4ths. So you just want to make sure that they're not too big, So we'll just chop this broccoli up. I'll throw that in a bowl. So that's ready to go. This is going to be a very veggie heavy stir fry, but that's good. Okay, so this is bubbling now. So first thing, you just want to give it a little bit of a stir. And then I'm going to add this Better Than Bouillon. Okay, so I'm going to move this off of the heat a little bit because it's bubbling a lot. And the directions on the Better Than Bouillon is basically a teaspoon per cup. So I like to put 2 teaspoons in. once the water's hot. And then just put your fork where the kind of the blob is of the chicken bouillon, and just try and stir it up as much as possible so you don't have any, like, you know, big chunks in there. So it melts into the hot water. And also go ahead and turn your heat all the way down to as low as possible. So put it back on the heat and put your lid on. Okay, so now we also have to get our mushrooms ready. So I've got some, these are cremini, I think you can call them, or baby Bella mushrooms from Costco. Are you seeing a theme here? Yes, I have a problem. Okay, so what I do with mushrooms is I cut, you can pop this whole thing off just like this, like the whole stump off, be done with it. You can do it that way, and then just slice it up. Or if you want a little bit of it on there, I just like to cut off the end, because the end is just a little tough, just a little. I mean, you could eat the end if you want, like it's no big deal, but you know. I did take a paper towel and I rubbed off like the dirt from the mushrooms. So they have been cleaned. All right, so we can, oh, we got kind of a lot. I do have 2 bowls here though. Lots of mushrooms. All right, so we'll go ahead and chop up our green onion. I just chop the ends off, slice it all the way through. And we need another pretty little bowl. I'll let you guess where I bought these bowls. Put your guess in the comments below. Okay, so the last thing that we need to get ready before we can start cooking is our chicken. So I've got 3 boneless, skinless chicken breasts that I thawed. So these are ready to just chop up into cubes, really. So to season, because we're gonna have a lot of other flavors kind of going on in the stir fry, and I keep it pretty straightforward. I'm not gonna make some kind of crazy stir fry sauce on the side that you need to put together and everything. You'll see how easy this is, but the flavors are coming from just the fresh ingredients. And the 2 main things that I use that I guess you could call like the sauce or whatever are soy sauce and toasted sesame oil. This is the secret ingredient, toasted sesame oil. I think some of the bottles do say dark sesame oil. That's okay to get. But you want it to be toasted sesame oil or dark sesame oil because it's got that toasty flavor. Now this kind of oil is not something that you would like really cook in, you know, like put it in the pan and then cook things in it. What you use this for is more like for flavoring. So I'll show you, when I go to use this, but this gets added to the stir fry and it just gives the whole stir fry this like depth of flavor. It's really good. So definitely don't skip that ingredient. So really we're just going to season this with good old pink Himalayan sea salt. This is my favorite salt. Some nice, fresh, cracked black pepper. And let's do some garlic powder, which I forgot to pull out. So we got garlic powder and just a nice, even amount of that. All right. We are ready to go to start the cooking process. And we're gonna be using what I call Big Bertha. She is my biggest pan. So let's get started. I forgot an ingredient, eggs. We have to put eggs in this. You know how when you get fried rice, there's always little pieces of egg in your fried rice? Yeah, so we have to do eggs. So in this recipe, I use 4 eggs. So I'm going to grab those. Okay, so we will scramble these up real quick. All right, grab a fork. Okay, and just scramble them up. Okay, so it's been, I don't know, 20 minutes or so maybe. And I'm checking the rice and all the liquid has been absorbed. So I'm just taking the fork and you can see it's fluffing up nice and easy, not sticking or anything. So it's actually perfect. So you can turn that heat off, put the lid back on, and this is good to go, ready to use when we are ready for it. Okay, I've got this big pan on medium-high heat, so we're ready to go. So first thing we're gonna do is the eggs. Just take like a light olive oil, put a little in the pan. Pour in your eggs. Get some kind of rubber spatula so you can get all the eggs out. And just keep your bowl because you're going to put the eggs right back in here. And just kind of roll it around. It's going to cook fast because again we have this on kind of like a medium higher heat. The trick here is to make sure that your pan is hot before you start, because it will cook like this really, really easily. And then put that oil in. And just kind of, and it's not sticking, and this is not a non-stick pan either, so that's kind of your trick so that it won't stick on you. And just kind of get it so that it's just cooked. Break it up a little bit. But it'll break up once you add it to the rice later. All right, so it's done. So we are gonna get it out of here, get it off the heat. I'll bring my bowl over here. And all right, so we will put our eggs aside for now. Next thing we want to do is cook the chicken. So another zigzag of oil, a little extra because we got a lot of chicken to put in here. So you want to just kind of slide it off the cutting board into the hot pan. I like to use a nice sturdy spatula to cook the chicken, because you can really get in there, get under the chicken, and make sure that it's all coated really nicely with the oil from the pan right away. Just kind of shake it a little bit so that it starts to cook evenly. The chicken is done. I just went ahead and put it into a bowl so that we can set that aside for now. So I will set that over here. Okay, next thing we're gonna do, add some more. I'm turning the heat to a medium high. We are going to do all the vegetables except for, we're gonna save these for last, as well as the onions, because I like to put those in with the rice. So we are going to add the broccoli, the pea pods, and the mushrooms. And this will all cook down, so it looks like a lot right now, but it will cook down a bit. So again, stir this around right away so that everything gets coated with some of that oil. And we want to season this just a bit with some salt and pepper. Not a ton, just some. Because remember, we're also going to be adding soy sauce to this dish. But you want to season every layer of any dish, really, so that it all ends up coming together nicely. So every once in a while, just give it a little stir and let it hang out and cook for a bit. Alright, it's been just a couple minutes and you see how much greener everything is. You can see we're getting a little color on the mushrooms. Give you a little closer look. A couple minutes later, more color on the mushrooms. Looking pretty good now. So now is the time to, I grabbed a bigger bowl here and we're just going to put this into the bowl. Now we are ready. More oil. And we want to add our onion and our peas and carrots. We're doing it in this order because I'm going to end up adding the rice here in a little bit. And I like this mixture to be really incorporated in with the rice. Just like a fried rice is that you would order from a takeout place. So just kind of put that into an even layer and let that cook just for a few minutes. You just want to cook it until the onion is, a little bit tender. All right. So we got a little color on here. I'm going to put in a little more oil because I'm adding the rice. Okay. So, add this rice in, and it's going to like fall out in like one big clump, so be careful. But this basmati rice, like, it just always cooks up really perfectly like this for me. Like, I've used Uncle Ben's and stuff like that, and it does not cook the same. So I'm just telling you, I don't know if that looks like fancy rice to you or what, but it's so much better. I don't know, just an awesome quality. So even it out and then start stirring it up so you can incorporate the peas and carrots and onions. Okay, I can start to feel it stick, which is an actual good thing. So now we are going to add two things. We are going to add the soy sauce. Actually, pop that open. And just sort of, this is how much I want you to put in. Just a little everywhere. That's it, okay? That's how I can easily describe it. Then, get your toasted sesame oil and kind of the same. Not quite as much, just sprinkle a little like that. Just enough to get a little bit all over. Now I'm gonna switch to my sturdier spatula so that I can start really scraping the bottom as I stir it, because that's where you're getting a lot of your good flavor on your fried rice. So at this point, we can add the egg. So we'll add the egg back in, and kind of, you know what, you can just break it up with your hands because it's not hot anymore. Let that kind of crackle a little bit. You can hear the rice getting nice and toasty underneath. And after the rice is kind of toasted a little bit more, now you want to go in again, and you really got to scrape. You can see the brown coming up. And be careful, because you can fling this right out of the pan. All right, now we're ready to add back in the other veggies that you cooked. And that's why we did these ahead of time. So you can literally just add that back in. You also want to add your cooked chicken, or whatever protein you chose to add, your shrimp or whatever. You're going to stir again, but this time stirring in all of our ingredients, just so that it's all nice and tossed and incorporated. So every bite has a little bit of everything. And you can see it ends up, you know, really filling this pan. And it's a it's a lot for one person, but it is so great for meal prep. I mean, I can have this for lunch or dinner, share it with somebody, you know, feed your friends. So it's a great thing to have on hand, and it's healthy. I mean, yeah, you got your olive oil in there, right? But look at all the portions that you have, so you're not eating all of that olive oil at once, right? And there you go. Get under there and get some of that stuck on part. But it looks good. And the very last thing that you do then is you take your green onions and just sprinkle those all on top. And you are now ready to plate. All right, so got the big bowl out so that we can plate. And let's see, I'll just grab a big spoon and just scoop in however much you want. Okay. You can kind of see. And what I'm going to do is, how I like to serve it is put some sriracha on top. That way, this is where you add the heat. And this is also great because the actual stir fry doesn't have heat in it, spicy heat. So if you're serving it to kids or people that don't like spicy food, they can have theirs not spicy. They can also add a little extra soy sauce if they want to. I don't find that it needs really extra soy sauce, but that's your preference, obviously. So I'm gonna grab my sriracha, which I use all the time. You wanna shake it a little bit because it does get a little runny, kind of like ketchup does. And then just do a little zigzag pattern. That's kind of what I like to do. And there you go. That is my stir fry. And it's time to taste. Very, very good. I love this so much. The broccoli still is very, very green, you know, but soft. Not too soft though, you know. And then the spice from the sriracha mixes with all the fresh flavors from the fresh veggies, the perfect rice, the chicken. It tastes really, really good. And then the green onions on top, when you put them in raw, it's just a more pronounced green onion flavor that you have. So yeah, this is my go-to stir-fry recipe. It's very versatile. Like I said, you can use any protein that you want, any veggies that you want. I would just say make sure that you use the white onion and the peas and carrots if you like all that stuff, because that's really good within the rice. But otherwise, add whatever you think you want. And it's also a great way to use up leftovers. Kind of throw it all in the rice and stir it up. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. So, seen any good movies lately?